Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the meditation session. So we will start as usual by looking first at our posture, ideally sitting on the floor with full lotus posture. That might be a little bit difficult. So you can simply sit cross-legged or in half lotus or in Burmese style with one leg in front of the other. Make sure you are not pushing your body. Make sure you are comfortable. If it is difficult for you to sit on the floor, you can as well sit on a chair. If you're sitting on a chair, just make sure you are not leaning against the support of the chair and not leaning forward either. Make sure your body is straight, your body is upright, your spine is aligned. The second thing for the posture is to look at the hands. Ideally, we put them in the concentration mudra, so with your right hand on top of the left, the two thumbs are slightly touching, and this rests at your lap. The back is straight. You can imagine that there is a string pulling from the crown of your head to keep your spine straight. But while the body is upright, it is also flexible. You can easily move from left to right. The shoulders are even and relaxed. The neck is aligned with the spine. You can slightly tilt your head forward, but not too much. A tip of the ancient masters is for your tongue to be placed behind your upper teeth towards your upper palate. This helps to reduce the production of saliva while you do the meditation. Then finally, we don't meditate with eyes fully closed. We leave them slightly open, but we don't actually pay attention to what our eyes are apprehending. It is the mental consciousness that meditates. The most important of all of these instructions is for your back to be straight, for your body to be upright. Now that we have the meditation posture, we will look at our motivation. Why are we meditating? Lama Zopa Rinpoche says the purpose of our lives is to help others. Now, what does it mean to help others? We have to recognize in which condition I and all sentient beings are since beginningless time. Due to the self-grasping ignorance, this misconception that we have of a truly existing I and phenomena, we have this apprehension of a very solid sense of self, a truly existing me, I. We fail to recognize that objectively, inherently, intrinsically, it is not there. This self and all phenomena, they don't exist independently. They don't exist truly, intrinsically from their own side. We fail to recognize this. We have this fundamental ignorance, and because of that, we have this sense, this feeling that we are the center of the universe. We feel that we are the most important person, that we are more important than others. So because of this ignorance and because of this apprehension, we have all sorts of afflictions that arise, such as anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, and so on and so forth. Now, because of these afflictions, we engage in all sorts of negative actions, non-virtuous actions. Let's say that out of attachment, for example, in the past, we might have said lies, we might have stolen things, and so on and so forth. And because of these negative actions, we leave a negative karmic imprint on our mental continuum, and inevitably, at one point or the other, these negative imprints, they ripen in the form of suffering experiences, unpleasant experiences. So as long as we have these, the afflictions rooted in the self-grasping ignorance. We engage in negative actions and they ripen in the form of karma. Therefore, we lack freedom. We don't have a choice what we experience in our daily lives. When we pass away, any of these karmas can ripen and propel us to the next life without us being able to choose, the conditions of our next life. So we need to cut the root of this misery. We need to cut the root of samsara by realizing the emptiness of inherent existence of ourselves and all phenomena. We can eliminate this ignorance and all the afflictions that arise due to it. So we try to recognize that not only myself am in this condition, it is the same for all sentient beings without exception. All the beings who have not eliminated their obscurations, they are in the same boat. And we can see, with our own eyes, other human beings going through various types of suffering, such as acute sicknesses, poverty, some of them living in countries that are at war, and so on and so forth. We can see also the animal realm. We can see in the wilderness how animals are living in constant fear of being eaten by bigger animals. We can see also, for example, the chicken that are raised for the KFC, for example, how they are raised, how they are treated. Thousands of them in very tiny places. Can you imagine what it must be like living such a life and then being sent to the slaughterhouse? Because there are so many of them together in the same place. They even cut the beaks off so that they don't hurt each other, during their life. Can you imagine the pain? Can you imagine the condition, the life that they must have? And we can also infer what it must be like to be reborn in even more unfortunate realms, such as the hungry ghost or the hell realms. So try to generate a sense of compassion for yourself and all sentient beings, thinking, may they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And this great compassion gives rise to a sense of responsibility. I myself must do something to help sentient beings. Because now I have this precious human life, I have this incredible opportunity. I am born as a human, I have all my physical, mental capacity, and most importantly, I was born at a time where the Buddha appeared, 2,500 years ago. The Buddha appeared on this earth and he turned the wheel of Dharma, he taught, he gave the teachings for several decades. Not only that, but the teachings are still very much alive today. They're still very much available, especially in this era with internet. It is so easy, we just need to click and instantly we can listen to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is the true embodiment of the Buddha's teachings in this day and age. So fortunate, so lucky. And not only that, but there are so many other practitioners and students of the teachings of the Buddha who can help us. And there are so many supporters of the Buddhist practitioners. So with all these conditions, I must take responsibility. I must transform my mind. I must make the effort to listen to the Buddha's teachings, contemplate on the Buddha's teachings, and meditate on them in order to purify my own mind from all my afflictive and cognitive obscurations and become a fully awakened Buddha in order to guide all sentient beings without making any mistake. Only when I will become a Buddha, I will achieve the state of omniscience, and therefore will be able to guide sentient beings perfectly, unmistakably. So let us take a moment to generate this most beautiful mind of bodhicitta, the mind of awakening, thinking, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. And with this bodhicitta motivation, we will engage in Shamatha practice this morning. Shamatha is the Sanskrit term for calm abiding in English, also called single-pointed concentration. We call it shine in Tibetan. So there are 4 instructions for that. The first is the posture we already looked at the beginning of the session. The second is the object of meditation. What are we actually meditating on? So if you're familiar with this practice, you can take the object that you would usually take for this meditation. It could be the breath, it could be the Buddha image, it could be the awareness of awareness itself, and many other examples are there of objects that you can use for shamatha. If you don't have a familiar object, what I would recommend is to focus on the breathing sensation at the entrance of the nostrils. It's quite an easy object to meditate on, and it is always there, and it has this physical sensation, so it is quite easy to focus on. What is less easy is to remain on that object for the entire duration of the meditation without losing the object. So this is what we are training in. So this is the object, and there are 2 ways. The third instruction is that there are 2 ways we get distracted while we meditate. There are 2 mistakes that we make when we meditate. The first one is called excitement. So basically we are distracted with thoughts. We are, for example, thinking about the past and the future, and therefore losing our object. The second way we get distracted is with laxity, also called lethargy or dullness. So basically we are not putting enough application on our meditation, and therefore the mind starts to think. We kind of fall asleep, and therefore we also lose our object. So these are the 2 ways we get distracted in our meditation: excitement and laxity. Then the final instruction for this meditation is that there are 2 antidotes that we need to use to counteract these 2 mistakes. The first one is called introspection or alertness. So introspection is one of the mental factors that we are training in. It's also called alertness. It is a small part of our mind that is actually checking, while our main mind is trying to focus on the object of meditation, for example, the breathing sensation at the entrance of the nostrils. In the background, we have a small part of our mind, this introspection, that is actually checking. Am I meditating? Am I concentrated on my object of meditation? And as soon as this introspection or alertness notices that I have lost the object of meditation because I'm distracted with thoughts or with laxity, then immediately I make use of the second antidote, which is called mindfulness. And the role of this mindfulness, this mental factor, is to bring the mind back onto the object of meditation and making sure it stays there. It is a little bit like if you have a pet dog at home and the dog runs away. So introspection notices that the dog has run away, and mindfulness brings the dog back home. And you can also imagine tying him against a pillar so that he stays at home. So this is what we are doing with our mind. Every time we notice, we are always constantly checking that we are focused on our object of meditation. And every time we notice that the mind has gone, we bring it back onto the object of meditation. So we will do this meditation for about 10 minutes. You can gently come out of the meditation. You know, this morning we did 10 minutes of single pointed meditation. It might sound like not much, but actually, if we are able for 10 minutes to remain on our object without losing it, without being distracted, then already we are a really great meditator. Actually, it is advised in the beginning when we start doing meditation, when we train in mindfulness and introspection, to do more small sessions rather than a few big sessions. There are two reasons for that. The first one is that if we do, let's say, 5 minutes quality meditation, where we really make an effort, to use the two antidotes of introspection and mindfulness, then we are actually, training, habituating ourselves with these mental factors. In the other hand, if we sit, let's say, for 1 or 2 hours as a beginner, and the quality is not as good as if we were doing only 5 minutes. Therefore, we get distracted and we develop bad habits now of not using the antidotes and keep ourselves distracted. So then, if we do that in the future, it becomes more and more difficult to actually overcome these habits. So this is one of the reasons. And the other one is that what the ancient masters would say is that if we do 5 minutes of meditation, or 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, or maximum 24 minutes, it is advised for beginners, then at the end of the session, when the time runs out, it's always good to have like a timer with an alarm at the end of the time you want to meditate, 5, 10, 15 minutes, 24 minutes. So when the timer rings, maybe you still feel that you want to meditate more. And this is very good, because then, you will make the effort to again sit on your cushion and meditate. While in the other hand, if you meditate for 1 or 2 hours, at the end of the session, you might be tired and not want to meditate more, So the next time you see your cushion, you might not want to sit actually. So these are the two reasons why it is advised to do more small sessions rather than few big sessions of meditation. Okay, so we can dedicate the merits that we have accumulated by meditating on bodhicitta and by trying to develop these mental factors of introspection and mindfulness, so that we may soon, very soon, be able to have very concentrated minds, fully developed introspection and mindfulness, because these are required for us to be able to meditate properly in analytical meditation. We need this ability to place our mind on whatever virtuous object that we want to meditate on, such as renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. So may we be able to develop our minds very soon and become fully awakened Buddhas in order to liberate and benefit countless sentient beings without leaving none aside. May the precious mind of bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. May the wisdom realizing emptiness that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Due to the merits we have accumulated in this session, and all the merits we have accumulated in the past, all the merits we will accumulate in the future, may His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the very source of joy and happiness in this world, have a very long and healthy life, and all his wishes may they be accomplished effortlessly, so that His Holiness may continue to teach us and guide us for a very long time. We also dedicate our merits for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, our spiritual director. May we soon have the fortune to find and identify the unmistaken reincarnation of Rinpoche, so that Rinpoche may continue to guide us and lead the organization. And finally, due to all our merits, may all the wars in the world immediately come to an end, and may there be no new wars, may there be no famine, no epidemic, no natural disasters, catastrophes of the elements, and may peace and happiness prevail in everyone's hearts and lives. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and have a very beautiful day. Tomorrow at Tushita at 6:30 p.m. we'll have movie night. You're most welcome to join us. That is only in person. Tomorrow the movie is Mystic Tibet, which is a beautiful movie documentary about a pilgrimage to Tibet that was led by Lama Zopa Rinpoche with about 50 disciples from all over the world. It's a very moving movie, so I encourage you to come. And then on Friday evening at 6 p.m. we are meeting at the synagogue, the Jewish synagogue near to Khan Market, and we will have an interfaith immersion program together with the rabbi there. We will, experience the prayers that they are doing, especially on Fridays. They are doing every Friday what they call the Shabbat. So we will experience that with them and discuss with the rabbi, what are the similarities and differences between Judaism and Buddhism. So that is a very interesting exchange that is going to happen on Friday at 6 p.m. at the synagogue in Delhi. And then on Sunday, we have Kabir Saxena. He's visiting Delhi for a few days. He's mostly based in Bodh Gaya these days. So he's visiting for like 3-4 days. And on Sunday, he's giving a talk at 11 a.m., both in person and online. And this will basically be a talk about his journey with the Tibetan Lamas. How, he went from Oxford, where I think his life started, to Bodh Gaya, and how the Lamas influenced him over several decades, and how he was involved in the different centers of the Lamas, both in India and in the UK. And then on Monday as well, Kabir is giving a question-answer session on Monday evening at 6:30 p.m. to a big group of American youngsters who are visiting India for the first time. So usually these talks, they happen in private, but this time we decided to open it if a few of you want to join and sit at the back of the Gompa and listen to the questions of the young audience and the answers of Kabirji. So that is only in person on Monday at 6:30. And finally on Tuesday, Kabirji at 6:30 as well p.m. Kabirji will lead the Guru the Guru Puja Tzok in person, I think, as well as online, 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Have a beautiful day. See you soon. Bye bye.